After I left Christianity, one of the pieces of advice I often received from Christians was this: don't look at Christians, look at Christ. Christians are human, they make mistakes. You should not judge Christianity by how they behave. Just because they are imperfect does not mean Christianity is false. Look at what Christ is like. He is perfect. For example, look at this comment from a viewer. This was posted in Tamil on my other YouTube channel. He says, don't look at Christians, look only at Christ. Christians are ordinary human beings. They lie, they make mistakes. So don't let yourself backslide or make others backslide because of their behavior. First of all, I want to clarify something very clearly. I did not leave Christianity because Christians are bad people. I left Christianity because I found the Bible to be unreliable, and therefore I came to the conclusion that Christianity itself is false. However, I came to realize that the statement, don't look at us, look only at Christ, itself proves that Christianity is a false religion. That is the interesting point I want to explain in this video. And the proof begins with their own words. The statement, don't look at us, already proves something important. Christians themselves admit that they are not morally better. By saying this, Christians concede their own failure. So this is not something non-Christians need to prove. They also say, don't judge Christianity by how Christians behave. Fine, we won't judge Christianity by how Christians behave. But if we analyze why Christians behave the way they do, the logical conclusion becomes clear. Christianity is false. That is the real issue. This brings us to the next important point. We are not saying that all Christians are bad people. We openly acknowledge that there are good Christians, kind, loving, and compassionate. But notice something important. Christians never say, don't look at bad Christians, look at good Christians and see that Christianity is true. Why? Because if they said that, we could immediately respond, look at good Hindus, look at good Muslims, look at good atheists. So the existence of good Christians proves only one thing. Good human beings exist everywhere. It does not prove that Christianity is true. And once we acknowledge that Christians are no different from everyone else, the next question naturally follows. Why? Because Christianity is not a divine moral system. It is another man-made religion, just like every other belief system, promising moral transformation, but delivering ordinary human behavior and sometimes even worse. At this point, Christians usually respond by saying, but Jesus is still very good. Is he? Comparatively, no. The idea that Jesus is very good is a myth that needs to be examined. Yes, the Bible quotes him as saying things like love your enemies and turn the other cheek. It is possible that these were moral teachings of a good human teacher. But if Jesus is considered God, as Christianity claims, then there is no way he could have taught such principles. According to Christianity, Jesus is also the God of the Old Testament. And in the Old Testament, this same God did not say, love your enemies. Instead, he commanded the killing of enemies, including women and innocent children. The so-called love commands only function as a cover designed to make the Christian God appear morally superior, while the underlying theology remains unchanged. And when the theology remains unchanged, behavior does not change either. When Christians behave badly, they are not acting independently of their faith. They are reflecting the character of the God they believe in. They curse. I can show countless Christian comments where I was cursed the moment I announced that I was leaving Christianity. They even curse other Christians who do not belong to their own denominations. Even when Christians genuinely try to be good and loving, there is a built-in limitation. At a deeper level, the belief still remains, I am God's child and others belong to the devil. This belief is not accidental. It is central to Christian theology. In the Old Testament of the Bible, David, described as a man after God's own heart, prays that his enemy's wife should become a widow and his children should become orphans reduced to begging for food in the streets. Even in the New Testament, the Bible warns of punishment for those who oppose church authority and condemns those who do not accept Jesus to eternal punishment in hellfire. These teachings in the Bible inevitably shape Christian attitudes. No matter how much goodness is displayed, this belief prevents Christians from seeing others as truly equal and loving them unconditionally. So, look at Jesus does not solve the problem. The problem is not just individual Christians. The problem is the belief system itself. Christianity functions no differently from any other human created religion, and in some respects, it performs even worse than other faith systems. And even if we look at Christ, Christianity still fails as a belief system. And that is the real problem.